So after owning a pellet grill for the last year or so, has this particular pellet grill changed my mind? Or do I still prefer charcoal grills? Let's dive in. So like in many ways, this is probably going to be also an updated review on the brisket pellet smoker, but I don't want it to be. It's just gonna naturally be like that because I'm kind of covering two topics at once. Ultimately though, I really wanted to focus on pellet grills themselves and if this grill, or just in general, have I changed my mind on pellet grills? You may or may not know, but I've always kind of never really gravitated towards pellet grills. I've always preferred charcoal grills. Charcoal grills are my favorite. I like having total control. But also I started off learning on gas grills. So gas grills would probably be my second favorite. Now, nothing against pellet grills. Pellet smokers are great. And we're gonna dive into it in particular why. But you know, I never really was into them. And if I'm being quite honest with you guys, here's some behind the scenes stuff. I've had a lot of brands reaching out to me, pellet grill makers reaching out to me in the last 2 years or so, 3 years. And I've always turned them down because I just never really was interested until this particular grill came out, which offered AI features. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why I was so intrigued. I was like, oh wow, this has AI and it promises to make a perfect brisket. Let's check it out. So if you haven't already, check out my original review on the brisket grill. My original review, initial impressions were, it was fantastic. But has this particular grill, because it's the only pellet grill I own, has it changed my mind? Okay, so diving right into it, long story short, no. This grill has not changed my mind. Pellet grills are fine, and I have nothing against them, but charcoal grills are still my favorite. And ironically, I have this sitting right next to my favorite grill, the Weber Summit Kamado. And by far, if you told me I had to keep one grill right now, it would definitely be the Weber Summit Kamado, hands down. Now, if you told me I could only keep two grills, it would be my Weber Summit Kamado and my gas grill. And I'm gonna talk about why specifically. This grill, this brisket grill, is great. It's fine, and if you're looking to buy it, I highly recommend it. It's a great value, comes in at a great price, and the AI features are definitely not a gimmick if you are a beginner. But if you're like me, and you already know what you're gonna be doing and how you're gonna be cooking it, the AI feature is a nice guide, but I find myself ignoring it most of the time. Okay, so let's talk about the pros and cons of pellet grills relative to charcoal grills and gas grills. Look, by far, pellet grills are a set it and forget it system. If you are new to grilling, barbecuing, you want to smoke things, hands down, pellet grills are a very good grill to learn on and a grill that you don't necessarily have to worry about. There's a caveat though, if you get one that's well designed. So that's a big caveat. And likewise, if it has AI features like the brisket does, then you're gonna learn a ton. If you're new to grilling, if you've never really grilled before, then it's going to guide you every step of the way. Pro number 2, if you wanna learn how to smoke and you like that barbecue smoke taste, that Texas style taste, you wanna mimic it, not necessarily reproduce it and replicate it, but you wanna mimic it, this is the grill for you. It's going to smoke everything for you. And it's gonna do it very well. And again, going back to the AI features, it's gonna walk you through the process and you can literally start a journal and keep track of things like chicken, brisket, ribs, you know, so forth. And you will learn every step of the way. But smoking, they do it very well, but sometimes it's the only thing that they can do. I think a big pro out of pellets themselves is they're relatively cheap, but there's a lot of them and you can get a lot of different flavors. You can play around with flavors. It's really easy to get a good taste, good smoke taste out of pellet grills. Traeger, for example, offers a blend that has like apple and oak and hickory and all that stuff. And it makes things taste very barbecue-esque. So pellets in general are pretty easy to use. I mean, just pour it in the bin and the machine takes over for you. But I think the big pro from pellets is that there's a lot of different tastes that you can blend. And you're not gonna get overwhelmed with like wood chunks and which wood flavors go with what and so forth. It kind of just takes over that. All that guesswork is kind of done for you from the pellet grill manufacturer or the pellet maker themselves. I think another pro is they're fairly cheap, fairly inexpensive. If you want to get a pellet grill, I mean, you don't necessarily have to spend a couple grand to get a good one. This one in particular was, I think, like $600 or maybe $800, definitely under $1,000. And that's pretty good. In comparison, the Weber Summit Kamado is a $1,500 grill now. It used to be $1,200, now it's up to $1,500. And I got it at a good price at $1,000. So that just kind of gives you an idea. Gas grills are notorious for being very expensive. $1,500 will get you a pretty good gas grill. $2,000 will get you a really good gas grill, and then $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 will get you a professional gas grill. Pellet grills can also get very expensive, but I'm just saying the cost of entry is a little bit lower. And now on to the cons. The first one for me is it's too set and forget it. I don't like that. I want to be able to do things and change things and be a little bit more hands-on. And that's why I think for beginners, pellet grills are really good. But and I'm not calling myself an expert, don't get me wrong, but for people that have been cooking and barbecuing for a long time, you can outgrow it and get bored with it. It's not like I can burn my own wood. I can put a smoke box in there, but kind of defeats the purpose. And the next con is, well, it kind of reminds me of an oven, an outdoor oven. There's not a whole lot of searing going on with pellet grills, at least not standalone as they're designed. I mean, nowadays you can get pellet grills that have a side sear zone or a side burner that kind of, handles searing for you. But I mean, really, it's an oven. And to dial up the temperatures you got to go past 500 degrees to really even get a decent sear for the Maillard reaction. Really drains the pellets. I mean, you're going to be going through pellets like crazy. And that's a big con for me. Searing, the Maillard reaction is a big part of cooking. And sometimes you don't want convection, right? You don't want an oven doing all your cooking for you. Sometimes you want that flame-kissed taste. And that's a big con. Another one is also the pellets. They're kind of pricey. And they're not as readily available. Like, for example, I can go to a market, Stater Brothers, and for sure they're going to have charcoal. Now, in all fairness, they may not have propane or propane refills, but they're going to have charcoal. So I wouldn't say they're as rare as propane tanks or propane refills, but they're definitely not as readily available as charcoal, and they're kind of pricey. And the last con, at least for me, is if you get a poorly designed one, you are going to have a nightmare on your hands where flare-ups and grease fires are a very real thing, and it's no longer set it and forget it. Now you got to baby it and watch it, and it's going to stress you out as a cook. So this is something that's very specific to the brisket, and I want to show you guys this real quick. So the brisket does have this feature where it has a grease tray and an ash tray. Problem is, the way that it's designed, it sits directly under the firebox, which is normal, right? I mean, that's where you want to catch the grease. But it's a little too close. So if you are searing, and this usually happens at high temperatures, then it's very easy to ignite or boil that grease, and now you have a grease fire. And it also has this cleaning system here, and sometimes you may or may not know if there's pellets that are lit. So when you rack it, it dumps it into the ash catcher, which in turn will catch on fire, right? And then it catches the grease tray on fire, and now you have a grease fire. So kind of a weird design thing, but again, it only happens during searing. I figured it out, and I know now how to avoid it, but a new beginner may, well, freak out. Getting a pellet grill that's built well, engineered well, and again, I'm not knocking the brisket, it's good, and I think they made a revision and probably fixed that issue, but it's important. Okay, so where does everything sit for me? Charcoal grill, right there, right over there, is my favorite grill, hands down. I love having complete control over the cooking process, being able to try different, charcoal briquettes, lump, or even just wood themselves, and likewise smoke with different types of wood. The Summit Kamado is definitely a set and forget it charcoal grill. I mean, you can lock the temperatures down, but you can also engage any way that you want. And if you happen to get a grease fire for whatever reason, you'll literally just close the vents and it snuffs it out within seconds. There's no electrical cords I got to worry about, or wiring, or a propane tank that's underneath or anything like that, to where if a grease fire does happen, I'm freaking out. I mean, the worst case scenario is I close the lid and let it burn if I wanted to, and it will burn out and it'll be fine, it'll be contained, or I just close the vents and snuff it out. With the pellet grill, if you get a grease fire, you can't necessarily just shut it off, right? I mean, there's a 20-minute shutdown process. I guess you could ignore that and pull the cord, but then when you start it back up, you're gonna have issues, and you gotta run the auger, and you gotta prime it, and you gotta get the pellets out, and it's a huge deal, right? Now, the manufacturer says to just close the lid and let it burn out if you get a grease fire. I did that one time, and it was a pretty scary thing. I mean, there was flames shooting out of everywhere, and if anything was near it, I don't cook with it here, by the way, I pull it out, but a structural fire could easily happen, right? But what I was more concerned about was all the wiring underneath and the Wi-Fi and all that stuff. It could burn all that. So I always keep handy with me a little bit of baking soda, and that's how I snuffed it out. It's always a grease tray. Just pull it out and I throw some baking soda on there, and it snuffs out the fire. But you know, that's a problem. And then gas grills. I've honestly learned my lesson with gas grills. You really do have to buy quality. A gas grill is my worst nightmare. Out of the three, when a grease fire does happen with the gas grill, it's insane. It's just insane. Even if you close the damn lid, it's still going because of all the vents naturally, how a gas grill is designed, right? It has air circulating through it all the time, or else you wouldn't be able to turn it on, right, and keep it lit. I have to keep baking soda handy for that as well, right? But I deal with it with the gas grill because of the convenience. So that's kind of going to take me to the next segment. How do I use each of these grills? My charcoal grill is my baby. That's fun for me, right? I'll use it during the weekday, but typically I will reserve the charcoal grill for the weekend when I want to do something fun and special and really put in the time and effort to make amazing food, whether that's steak, fish, chicken, a brisket, whatever, smoking, grilling, anything. It's my time to myself to enjoy the weekend and have a great time is my charcoal grill. Can I do quick meals? Yeah, absolutely. I'll use it a couple times during the week, but that's where my gas grill comes in handy, right? I mean, my gas grill is the perfect grill for weekday cooking because it's so convenient. Turn on the burners and you're ready to go. But I'm always disappointed with the food because I know it could be so much better on a charcoal grill. Gas grills just taste too clean for me, and that's the problem. But they're so freaking convenient, and that's the big upside. And that's why I would have to keep a gas grill, right? But that's where I thought a pellet grill might come in handy, because I figured, well, it's also convenient and it's a little bit set and forget it, but it's always something that, like, I'm gonna smoke, like I'm gonna do a whole chicken or something like that. I tried to do some steaks the other day, thin cut steaks that were about an inch thick, something like that, and I couldn't, like, they're going to cook faster than you're going to get a sear, right? It was good. It was still very good, much more flavorful than a gas grill, but there was no crust, there was no browning, Maillard reaction, and that was a disappointment. That's kind of where I see it, right? I could live without the pellet grill. I cannot live without the charcoal grill, and I still think I need a gas grill. All right, so now I'm talking to the brands out there. Look, if you want to change my mind, and I'm not trying to sell or pitch you or anything like that, if you want to change my mind and send me your pellet grill, I'm open to it. I'm still very open to it. I like this one. It's a great grill. But I just want you to know that this is where I stand, right? You really got to convince me. Your grill better be great and better have the ability to sear. So overall, is there a place for pellet grills? Yes. But so far, they're just not for me. That's it for me, guys. I hope you found this video informative, and if you did, please consider subscribing and joining our channel memberships. I'll catch you on the next video.